Hello,
We are the
everybody.
good.
Welcome to the Sunday Club. As you can tell, we are missing Abhijit and his sister, Pallavi Tokas. And the reason for that is that they think they're too cool to come on time. And I'm not going to take the blame for them. So I just want to make that very, very clear. And I'm delighted to be joined by two very cerebral guests, Mr. Sandeep Kose and, of course, Mr. Ajay Kumar. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us. We're trying to do it differently since we don't have the hecklers with us today. So we'll be much more civil. Let's get started. Someone who has been very civil today is Arvind Kejriwal. He's finally realized that maybe it's not quite kosher to be holding on to your chief ministership when you've been accused of such grave crimes and you've been granted bail by the Honorable Supreme Court with caveats which are frankly embarrassing for anyone who's in elected office. So, Sandeep, first we'll start with you. What do you make of it?
See, Arvind Kejriwal, I think, missed his vocation from being an actor. He is everything he does. He is on an acting mode. So you have to see what is that. What's the image he's trying to portray? As people said, if you were to look at it substantively, he never attended office. He never signed any files. So what is really the big difference between his Supreme Court not imposing those caveats and imposing caveats? So he is doing all this for optics, and clearly I personally have a slightly different conspiracy theory. I think this resignation or threat to resign is also to assert his unquestioned supremacy within the party. And he will make sure in trying to do so, he will establish Sunita Kejriwal's position as well. Because if he resigns, he will get her at least to stand in till the next elections or whatever they do. I don't know what they'll immediately try to dissolve the assembly or how they will play it. So this is as much internally. As far as the external world goes, I think Advaita today, people accept Arvind Kejriwal despite what he is. I don't think there is any illusion about any of us that moral grandstanding he does, that any of that is genuine. Everybody realizes, even the man on the street realize that's not correct. So there is a degree of normalization about it. से फिर क्या है सभी politician तो ऐसा ही होता है. That's the kind of normalization which has happened. But I don't think that Mr. Clean, Mr. Innocent and high moral ground, that kind of image, it really matters to people any longer. He's overplaying that act, and he has to move on to something different if he has a long-term ambitions or aspirations to be a player in the national polity. You're gone silent, Advaita.
You've muted yourself, Advaita. Unmute yourself. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Does it matter? He's back with his echo, guys. I can't. Okay, does it even matter, this corruption thing? This grand statement he's made that, I'm not going to come back into office unless I'm re-elected and the people of Delhi give me their vote. Now, we all know this is a bit of an eyewash, and I want to turn the lens on us as voters. We're extremely tolerant of corrupt leaders. We vote them back to power regularly in different parts of the country. So can this really be a parameter for Kejriwal to establish his innocence? Ajay.
Okay. To begin with, this entire charade of what Arvind Kejriwal is trying to pull through now is, as is stated by Sandeep, not just an overdrawn card, but something which was anticipated. Look at the options he had. The Supreme Court guidelines and these strictures are very clear about what, as a chief minister, he can or cannot do. Virtually, he cannot do anything. You think he would have resigned and threatened to resign, so to say, in a party worker meet? It would have been done by dissolving the assembly, by making a grandstanding in the assembly, something which he has been deprived of. Rather, he cannot even call a cabinet meeting because, legally speaking, he is not entitled to call one after the Supreme Court guidelines, which have been issued, basis which the bail was granted. So basically, Arvind Kejriwal had left no other option than to prove himself within his party, than to try and eyewash and hogwash the people. Now, getting to the question that you raised, voters. What is the voter behavior that you see over the past close to 15 years, and even prior to that, despite literacy levels going up, people expecting humongous amount of things from the government, people expecting a clean administration, at least claiming to expect a clean administration? They are looking at primarily what is it that you can give me in kind. Are you giving me 200 units of electricity free? Are you giving me free water? Are you providing me with a doctor at my doorstep? Is it that I provide you an Aadhaar card in any of the Delhi medical hospitals and I can be treated anywhere else privately for which the government pays? These are the ways in which the people are voting. And rest assured that in case elections do follow, as Mr. Kejriwal would love to have it, because if you would have heard the press conference in the afternoon by Aam Aadmi Party position holders, they said that they would like the elections to be held by November along with Maharashtra. If you wanted an election to be held, dissolve the assembly. Prepare a note, give it to the LG. Why make a grandstanding in the public? And why give a 2-day notice? I'll resign 2 days later. These are all gimmicks. But the people will fall for it. Everybody from South India to North, compare any part of India. Indians today are not really looking at fantastic administration. It is a notion that we stick on to, we pretend to, but when it comes to voting, it is induced. Now, whether it is governmental addresses, promises by the parties, or thereafter inducement in form of cash or various other incidents that we all know of, acknowledge, but we never refrain. And which is where I think the role of the Election Commission also comes in. You can't turn a blind eye. After all, you're a constitution institution. You can't simply turn a blind eye and say, oh, everything is good. You can provide me a mixie. You can give me 2,000, 2,500 rupees. You can provide me with 2 bottles of whiskey and get my vote. So there are so many things at play. But yes, no doubt Mr. Kejriwal has played a good card from his perspective. However, it's supposed to, I expect it to boomerang. That's what I expect.
Okay. We've had enough of you, Ajay, criticizing Kejriwal, and it's time for an intervention. Sir, these two have really been trashing Kejriwal for the last, let's see, 8.5 minutes. And I want to give you that much time since this is not a balanced panel and you're the only AAP supporter here. So please go ahead.
So, I'm not surprised by Dr. Ajay Kumar and Sandeep Ghosh trashing the most prominent intellectual of our times, a crusader for honesty. They are pillorying him and crucifying him like Christ was crucified in his times. These two are the living manifestations of Pontius Pilate. They washed their hands. They're like the Knesset Hagedollah that actually condemned him to die on the cross. And remember who was chosen between Barnabas and Christ. Barnabas was a murderer. He was let off in order to crucify Christ. And who was crucified with Christ? Saint Dismas, the patron saint of thieves. So
I know it's Sunday, but can we move on from?
See, there is absolutely no proof of Kejriwal's guilt. I want to make this very clear. There is a lot of accusations and allegations. His only role, as far as we know in the charge sheet, is the fact that he was the president of the party, which is alleged to have received funds for the Goa campaign from the so-called liquor scam. They have not been able to trace anything back to Kejriwal himself except that he's in receipt of funds. In fact, had Kejriwal not been the head of the party, there would be nothing associating him to this scam. Now, leave all of that aside. Is it justified? How much time has Kejriwal spent in interrogation? 100 hours at most? What was the need to keep him in jail for 5 months for 100 hours worth of investigations? आप investigation बाहर आके नहीं कर सकते थे? Interrogation. So, this is the sign of the dictatorship we are living in. This is the second emergency.
Sandeep, but Kejriwal is a powerful man. He controls a lot of things. He controls the party. Having him out of jail and at a time when this is being investigated, the size of this scam is something that the head of the party in a tightly controlled party like the Aam Aadmi Party, it's very difficult to believe that Kejriwal had no role to play and was not aware that this was going on. I mean, he runs everything in that party. Sandeep, wake up.
That was for me. Yeah, he runs, but
Yes.
I'm really Abhijit Iyer, Mitra. I think Kejriwal wasted a lot of money paying Manish Sisodia for his defense. If Abhijit could demolish everything in just 2 seconds, Abhijit, you're missing your vocation. You should get into that. Okay, I believe Abhishek Manu Singhvi got some, I don't know how many crores, 19 crores or more. You could have got that money and donated it to Advaita Kala for the set of, at least part of it. We would have been all in a better place. And Kejriwal, the point is whether people are going to buy it. Yes, Advaita, what you started by saying, what you asked Ajay, that's the tragedy today. People say everybody is a cheat, and then he says he's a more imandar cheat than than the others. He kattar inamdar kind of thing that goes. But I think the bigger issue is therefore what is today happening by all this jailing, etc., is the feeling of, okay, everybody steals, but this guy is being victimized. He's being made through, like Abhijit will say, what did he do to stay inside the jail for so long? Why couldn't you complete the investigation and rest of it? And the second thing, Advaita, what is happening today, and I was going to tweet on this, although all of us are taught to say that bail is not acquittal, but the fact that bail is denied for so long, and then somebody gets bail, and after getting bail, they are scot-free for time immemorial, whether you're a murder convict or whether you are a political convict, gives people the idea that, okay, as soon as you get bail, everything is over. Neither is the prosecution followed, neither do the courts ask that, okay, we've given them bail, but you were supposed to come back by such time. Why haven't you come back? And that's how this whole thing has become very farcical. But a point I think we need to all, therefore, whatever course it takes or not, how this will help Kejriwal, I don't think they are really looking. They might make, again, a lot of rhetoric to say that let's have the election with Bombay, with Maharashtra. I don't think they're going to get that over there. And then that'll be another point where he'll cry that, they've not not having the election right now. They want to keep me out of office and the rest of it. So it's becoming all very farcical. And this is where I think more than Kejriwal, you'll find the other opposition parties will latch on to this further. Kejriwal is going to try and take advantage of this in a very limited way in Haryana. And how that...
So, Sandeep, I want to come in. Sandeep, I want to ask you this. So is this backfiring on the BJP then? Because you've had Sanjay Raut, Anil Deshmukh, Soren, Kejriwal, Sisodia, Jain, all of them going in for under very serious allegations and then getting bail. And like you said, that's it.
Absolutely, that's it. See, the problem with BJP is everything is, it's like mauling a tiger. And thereafter, you're not doing anything. You're just leaving them open and letting them, all of them become, ferocious and keep attacking you from all directions. if any of these actions, one could have seen the tactical advantage of it if these were followed through. And see, even Rahul Gandhi played the Kejriwal card, which Kejriwal was playing. I have got information ED is going to raid me, and I'm waiting for them with biscuit and tea. Everybody is trying to play up that card. So some of this, and then compounded by the statements which the court makes that you have to still prove you're not a cage parrot, etc. I think this is, to my mind, uh, it's not working. It's not working, certainly. And you see what will happen after
Ajay?
all these things. How many states will BJP win, despite all Article 370 and the rest of it? Even Kashmir, I know what's happening, what's going to happen to Kashmir. And if you have the old, all of them coming back, you think all the progress which has been achieved in terms of law and order, etc., is going to last through?
Ajay, this when Advani said he's going to quit and not get into political office or in public life when he was named in the Jain Hawala case, he actually stood by it. And he didn't know whether that case would last for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. And he was the foremost leader of a very large party. But he made that statement and he stuck with it. Now, Kejriwal stays CM while he's in jail. Then he comes out of jail and says, I'm going to resign. It's not making sense. If he was trying to get the higher moral ground by doing this, it's clearly not working.
No doubt about it. See, the question of higher moral ground comes about when there is morality. Let's face it, for the past 15 odd years that the Aam Aadmi Party has been in existence, morality is something which has been thrown out of the window on day one of the establishment of the party. The very basis of the formation of Aam Aadmi Party is on a false premise and basis. You started a people's movement and claimed that it'll be a people's movement, will never get into active politics, and the first opportunity you get, you form a political party. And what do you do thereafter? Each and every individual who was part and parcel of the People's Agitation Group, which galvanized the so-called Anna movement, which was equated with Mahatma Gandhi by most of us journalists, turned out to be nothing but a farce, including Mr. Anna Hazare. Mr. Anna Hazare and his conduct in the past has been very known to everyone or anyone who has been in Maharashtra. Thereafter, let's look at Aam Aadmi Party as a whole organization. It is a one-man show. And it is going into the dynastical way, the way Arvind Kejriwal's wife is being projected. Next, you will have his children being projected. So what is the difference between A. Mulayam Singh Yadav, Lalu Prasad Yadav, DMK or anybody else and Mr. Arvind Kejriwal? None. He can sacrifice anyone? Any of his close friends? Manish Sisodia is somebody who stood by him for each and everything. The first opportunity, the guy was thrown out of his own home. So what are we expecting? What kind of morality are we talking about? And mind you, you're talking about one of the most literate and conscious set of voters who live in Delhi. They're not some back of the beyond Bihar, UP or West Bengal or any of the underdeveloped Madhya Pradesh areas. So it is a farce. The farce is being well played. The only problem is, you talked about BJP. Let's look at BJP in Delhi. BJP in Delhi is in shambles. And BJP has known about it for the past 15 years. They have not been able to do anything. Not a single leadership stands tall amongst BJP in Delhi. And why has that happened? Because the population matrix has shifted away from the traditional Punjabi voters. And thereon, BJP is gone. So you need innovation. You need people who can actually galvanize the party. You cannot have a Rinkiya ka Papa dominating BJP politics. The guy is not even cut out for his own constituency. I'm being very blunt about it, despite the fact that we are at very good friends. Because he doesn't have that organizational skill. You require a Sahib Singh Verma. You require somebody like, the old age people who were there. I mean, even a Harshvardhan today is useless because he is unable to get out of his own constituency. So people have to get their act together. Look at Congress party. It's a demolished, degenerated party in entire Delhi. 10 years of government, and after Sheila Dikshit, there is not a single soul who can get anybody galvanized. So there is an absolute power vacuum. And the people will go for somebody who's as so-called self-motivated, driven, selfish, whatever you may call it. But at the end of the day, they are happy to get the lagresses. And this is what politics is, which is sad. Very sad. It's a sad commentary on all of us. I mean, we might be talking about Amrit Kal today, but if this is what the Amrit Kal is supposed to be, I'm sure the founding fathers should hang their heads in shame. All of us have completely debunked the democratic process, and we are all part of it. Neither any one of us or any part of the society can ever absolve themselves of this particular mess that we are in. And even now, look at the gamble that the BJP has done. Very rightly put by Sandeep. BJP has got a massive foot in the mouth disease these days. They end up making Mahatma out of culprits, criminals. Proven or not, that's a different question altogether. But the case of Lalu Prasad Yadav has been dragging since 1997. Mind you, the guy is about to pop off. I happened to meet his son. I was in Patna. The family is just holding on that he shouldn't pass off before the next elections. Nitish Kumar is almost on the last leg. This would be his last elections in any case. Look at how the DMK has been galvanized into. Look at Hemant Soren. I went to Ranchi. I'm surprised the kind of sympathy wave which is among the Adivasis who form 29% of Jharkhand for Hemant Soren is all of BJP doing. Either you prove somebody guilty, have solid proof, or you just don't put your hands on them. Simple logic. But you're putting them in jail, getting EDs and CBIs of the like. And I wrote a piece which is, caged parrot then, caged parrot now. What happened in these 11 years then? If this is how the investigating agencies are working, if the CBI is being called a cage parrot after 11 years, and Kolkata police is behaving the way it has been behaving, and CBI in Kolkata files the same charge sheet, same FIR as that of Kolkata police, what the hell is CBI doing? It means it has no investigative authority or power or jurisdiction. They cannot discover any new evidence. All this points to the fact there is a complete systemic failure, and we are looking at a crisis. It is a bad scenario, as bluntly put as that. But is there a way out is something we all Indians must discuss and think about. I'm sure.
Abhijit, I wanna check that. I mean, what Ajay said right now is actually very sobering, because this, drive against corruption and things like that, there was definitely momentum with the Anna movement, and then with Prime Minister coming in and his strong action that he promised against black money. But when so many of these politicians go into jail and then come out, and you're right, I mean, no one should be in jail for that long unless, they've been made, they're guilty of something. That's what I think as well. But this is going to backfire. And frankly, the BJP in Delhi doesn't have an alternative to Kejriwal. Kejriwal is still the biggest leader in Delhi politics, whether he's in jail or he's out of jail. And that is undeniable.
So, they always say never remove someone unless you know that the replacement is better, because the replacement might be far worse. What is the option? Congress doesn't have somebody like Sheila Dikshit. Now, Sheila Dikshit was everybody's grandma. You could literally go to her house and complain, and she tried to help you out. Her son's not like that. Nobody likes her son. And like the mother, nobody likes the child. Tell me one Delhi leader who matches up in stature to Arvind Kejriwal, whether you like him or not. Okay, I don't. Do I think he's guilty in this whole thing? Yes. Is there any proof I have seen? No. Now, you can't just remember when this government came to power on the basis of, uh, India against corruption created this whole thing, and the BJP benefited from it, right? And they swept to a majority, huge majority in 2014, like we hadn't seen in the 25, 30 years prior to it. We were told that there's 70 lakh uh, crores abroad, which was going to be brought back. Nobody heard about that after 2014. Everybody that's been arrested for corruption since then, nothing's come out of it. National Herald is an open and shut case of fraud. Where is the prosecution for it? You're not even moving on cases which are open and shut. See, there's this increasing thing key. This is a government that attempts, but it can't finish. It's like the impotent husband who's constantly trying, but the bread ain't getting baked, baby.
No, I
It's that
mean,
simple.
okay, fine. We don't need those kind of analogies. Yes, thank you so much.
I'm talking about baking
for-
bread. So
Yes,
what
we
ends
don't
up
need-
happening
welcome.
here is,
Look
So
at
one
Well,
more-
Sandeep, he's getting
Lucas.
excited already. Yeah. Pallavi's
Yeah,
calm,
yeah.
you're talking calm. Sandeep suddenly
Oh,
awake.
so stop.
Otherwise,
That's
he's
why I
sleeping.
So
I
you
need
have to.
I need
Can I
to
finish?
leave now.
Okay, Tata.
Yeah, not baking bread, but
Abhijit, you
Yes,
can't go. You stole
baking
my
bread.
food yesterday.
What stole your food? Hello, you didn't even come in the
Abhijit is
evening,
not
okay?
going. Sandeep is going.
Shandeep is going. So the negatives that are coming out are the fact that this is a government that simply can't deliver. There's a lot of talk on corruption, but zero proof, zero ability to execute, zero ability to convict. And the moment it happens, everybody stops talking about it. You remember in the first term in 2014 to 2019, there was such a tamasha about Make in India, the Make in India lion and all of that. What happened to the Make in India lion? Nobody knows the Make in India lion anymore. People have forgotten what the Make in India lion used to be. The Prime Minister in his speech said that it wasn't about indigenization, it was about bringing manufacturing jobs. The chap in charge of Making India said, no, it was not about manufacturing jobs, it was about indigenizing. The Prime Minister and the head of that campaign itself didn't know what their respective briefs were. Tell me 10 corruptions, 10 chodo. Tell me one major corruption conviction that has happened in the last, are you telling me 10 years? If the government takes corruption seriously, you have not had one single conviction in a corruption. So Raja has been acquitted completely. We all know A Raja is guilty as hell. Yeah, if you can't prove the way that tender was put out, where A Raja changed the terms of reference and gave all the companies 24 hours to respond, was outright corruption, but you can't, how do you not prove that in court? It is clear circumstantial evidence of corruption. For Rajiv Gandhi and Bofors, the very fact that we would keep sending the Swiss authorities letters saying, this is a tax investigation, please give us evidence. And the Swiss would write back saying, tax evasion is not a crime in Switzerland. On the other hand, if this is a corruption investigation, we can help you. They literally wrote that back. And 3 times the letter went saying tax investigation, tax investigation, tax investigation. How are you not able to crack down on this? There's either severe incompetence, or they're not serious about corruption, or sub-million. I don't know what it is. I think I agree with Dr. Ajay Kumar completely. But I think more than the fact that it's turning against the government is the fact that they've decided that maybe the BJP is just as corruption tolerant and not serious about corruption as Kejriwal is. So anyway, it's all the same.
I think it's a question of crying wolf too many times, right? You
Yeah,
keep saying wolf,
exactly that.
wolf,
Thank
and
you.
then
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
so you
You hit the
normalize
nail on
it.
the head. Yeah.
Yeah, you normalize it, and then people are like, oh well, nothing really comes of it. It's all politics. That's what the ordinary person is thinking. I'm not
Yeah.
saying they have sympathy for anyone who's gone into jail. I don't think the sympathy is going to quite play out the way Kejriwal thinks it will. But certainly, I mean, there isn't any kind of major angst one way or the other. Pallavi, how is this playing out with the Congress? Sandeep Dixit is, of course, one of the few. I guess he's the Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary of Delhi, in the sense that despite the India alliance, he is taking up on as Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary took Mamta on. So there are these elements in the Congress who are, holding their ground, and why not? I mean, Arvind Kejriwal made the nastiest accusations about Sheila Dikshit much before, and she never even went through like a tenth of what he's gone through in terms of
Exactly right.
investigation and all of that. So it's really, par for the course. It's karma in many ways.
Mhm.
But Sandeep Dixit did turn up at Arvind Kejriwal's residence the night he was arrested. I mean, many people criticized him for that. That, considering your mother was attacked personally by Arvind Kejriwal, you shouldn't have been there. In stark
Exactly.
contrast was Ajay Makan, who didn't even go there, despite the fact that a party had taken a line that we are going to go and support Arvind Kejriwal. Today no one is even talking about Congress when we are talking about Delhi politics. It's clearly become AAP versus the BJP. Just as no one is talking about the Congress in West Bengal, it was only Andhi Ranjan Chaudhary who was the Lone Ranger, and we know what has happened to him. I see the same future or lack of future for Sandeep Dixit and other Delhi Congress leaders. So it's clearly a game between AAP and the BJP. But it's going to have its repercussions on a large number of things, because now Arvind Kejriwal is out and about. He's going to try and use the so-called sympathy in Delhi, and he's going to go to Haryana, then he's going to campaign there, he's going to go to Punjab. And Haryana, I'm not saying he's going to win seats, but every time an AAP starts doing a little well, it starts cutting into the votes, and then people get very confused कि what is happening in this India bloc. ये साथ में है या अलग है? If all goes well, I think elections in Delhi will be in February. Where is the Congress going to be? Who's even going to bother about them? And what seats? Look what happened in Haryana, The Congress flip-flop. Rahul Gandhi says we should have an alliance with AAP. Huddas say we shouldn't have an alliance with AAP. So the Huddas had their way. It's clearly a sign that should the Congress party form government in Haryana, Huddas are not going to care about Rahul Gandhi. They are going to call the shots. And Arvind Kejriwal out and about, he's like Mamta Banerjee. They like to go to a street. They are fighters. Ghar ghar jayenge. From now till Feb, आप देखना कितना drama होगा. In fact, on 17th, when he's going to have the CLP meeting, which happens to be the Prime Minister's birthday, I think he's chosen the day. And he is going to go on and on and on. There'll be that full two drama. Remember what happened, Ajay, you must have been there, right? When Sonia Gandhi refused to become the Prime Minister. अरे वो तो गंगाधर पेड़ पे चढ़ गया, कोई गोली चला रहा है, कोई रो रहा है on the road and all that. Exactly that is, I'm expecting it to happen on 17th.
But will it happen, Ajay? Because when he went to jail, there was this expectation that one second, just mute it. Ajay, you have to mute yourself.
Yeah.
There was this expectation that people will come out in the droves and there'll be this rebellion and our people will just be going crazy on the streets. None of it happened. Really, none of it happened. And I think Kejriwal himself would have been very surprised by that, because that's the kind of drama he wants should follow him. And frankly, that's what he's built his politics on. Who can forget that dramatic visual of him being picked up and carried off the pavement, and it was in all the newspapers and everything. So that's Kejriwal.
See, it's again the same. He has enacted these stunts so many times that now, the overkill is beginning to set in. In economics, it's a very fairly used term, law of diminishing returns. That has started applying on Mr. Kejriwal, the Congress Party, the BJP to a great extent in various states and at various levels. Just to add on to what Pallavi is saying right now, Congress obviously is out of the fray in Delhi, no doubt about it. Congress is out of fray in Bihar. Congress doesn't seem to find any mention in Jharkhand. Have you heard anything about Congress in Maharashtra up till now, by the way? Are you hearing anything about Congress really in J&K? It is much more about National Conference. The tie-up with National Conference is not going to benefit Congress in any way whatsoever, except get it a few seats, which hardly matters. They're not going to have any say. The Abdullahs will not let Congress have any say if ever they get a complete majority and form the government. And what about PDP? Is PDP within the India Alliance or PDP is outside the India Alliance? So if you look at it, there is a mishmash. Haryana is a classic example. It was a foregone conclusion that Haryana is like an apple dropping in the lap of the Congress party. Now the apple is actually dropping on a knife. And which way the apple will be sliced, nobody within Congress can understand or predict today. The voters are absolutely confused. If you go on the ground, you will realize that there is complete disenchantment with BJP and the way BJP has functioned, at least in the last 5 years. Since 2019, the vote share has been coming down like nobody's business. 2019, the vote share came down. Lok Sabha elections, the vote share further came down. This time, the vote share may come down even more. But Jantantrik Party and these people might benefit much more from the disadvantages of BJP than the Congress itself. You already have a person who is willing to be a chief minister, Madam Meera Kumar. Not Meera, I'm sorry, I'm getting her name wrong.
Selja Kumari.
Selja Kumari.
Yeah.
So it is Congress is it is actually useless to talk about Congress party to a great extent, largely. I'm sorry, Pallavi, with all due respect.
No. Why sorry to me?
No, because see, it is something that the frustration of seeing a political party go down the drain has set in to such a great extent that you virtually wish, यार इसको ना कोई जादुई छड़ी चला दो और पूरा बदल डालो इसको. That is the way it has been functioning. So Congress obviously cannot be talked about. There hardly seems to be a redemption for the party and the leaders and the thought processes. You start there was a huge promise. There still exists a huge promise. And the political wars that are happening for a while now seem to be at least raising questions. When it comes to the regional parties, it's an open game. So Mr. Arvind Kejriwal, I doubt that he will have a huge sympathy factor. People are not going to vote for him because they love him or that they feel that he's been victimized. But yes, if the entire machinery of the Bharatiya Janata Party would completely go gung-ho against Arvind Kejriwal, trust me, you will have a repeat of what happened in 20. Same happened in 2020 when the elections happened in Delhi. Suddenly, Arvind Kejriwal looked very small and petite when compared to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Look at the rallies of Prime Minister Modi. And look at that, what Arvind Kejriwal was doing. He was meeting 50 people, 100 people. That was the strategy, because you cannot compete with a person who's larger than life, and the people were so readily accepting. But again, the people benefited in the way they could, like races, and the BJP lost because they had no foot to stand on. This time again, it will be such a media blitz, you will see, that it will be difficult for all of us to understand what's really happening. And then you never know, Mr. Kejriwal might come back with some 50, 60 MLAs and form the government.
Yeah, I think, Ajay, there's some static at your end, so I've had to mute you till you fix it. And really, the question that I want to come to, and Pallavi and AIM can join us again. I don't know why they've gone on silent, but AIM, there's a lot of chatter going on right now about who will be the possible CM to replace Kejriwal. Some are saying it could be Atishi Marlena, who has the maximum number of ministries, and Pallavi, this one's for you as well. Others are saying that it could be Sunita Kejriwal, who Arvind Kejriwal being who he is, and I don't know, everyone keeps bringing up that house, the Sheesh Mahal, that if he makes his wife the CM, then he won't have to leave the home, and he can continue to stay there. Manish Sisodia is already ruled out, who I think is frankly quite a likable person in the AAP firmament. I would kind of
But
say that about him.
Kejriwal ruled him
He,
out.
he doesn't have any, yeah, he
Kejriwal
doesn't.
ruled him out also. He said that
Yeah.
in his
But see,
I know
explanation.
he's ruled out, but
the thing
the
about
echo back.
Sisodia is he doesn't have
Echo is from
the
your
kind
side
of
today.
insecurities that these other people have, number one. Number two, we need to remember Arvind Kejriwal is a great power grabber. He doesn't really allow people any kind of freedom, naam ke vaste. When you want to avoid responsibility like signing files, why is Manish Sisodia in jail? Because Arvind Kejriwal refused to sign files. Why is everybody else going to jail? Because Kejriwal refused to sign files. Okay, everybody else is told to sign files, he will sign nothing. तो भाई चीफ मिनिस्टर तो किसके लिए बना है? Now, the thing out here is he will not let anyone become chief minister other than Sunita Kejriwal, number one. Definitely not Atishi, because he always likes to maintain a balance. And no, because you look at the way he likes to jagdaify everybody. The way that fellow, what's his name? Yoya and Prashant Bhushan were constantly in conflict with people. Atishi is in conflict with Raghav to some extent. And then there's this Saurabh.
Ashutosh left.
Ashutosh left. Saurabh is in conflict with Atishi. There are two power factions out there.
But
He's a
isn't
very
Atishi
insecure man.
also in conflict with Sunita? Isn't she in conflict with Sunita?
Sunita, understand, Sunita is family, you understand? So family first, number one. Number two, the thing out here is he will insist that she also be like him and not sign anything. Right? He can't afford to let his family sign any of the documents. With Sunita, he thinks he can kind of remote control her. With Atishi, once you give her power, she'll come into her own pretty much. So it's very, very tough. But all of this is assuming he resigns in 48 hours. Personally, I'm of the opinion in 48 hours, something will happen. Do you remember the the referendum that they held?
Yes,
And the
I also
referendum
agree.
went against them. And then he was like, this referendum is irrelevant. Okay, then they concocted numbers on the referendum. They said, oh, we got this many votes, totally unverifiable. Anybody could have voted anywhere. So I fundamentally believe in 48 hours, this man will not resign. This is like, there are two examples.
I also think so.
The first is Lenin and the 1921 election, I think it was, where the Bolsheviks only won some 18-19% of the vote. And they declared the entire process irrelevant and declared a communist dictatorship. And the second is Turkmenbashi Sapar Murat Niyazov of Turkmenistan. Every year he would do this drama that he's resigning, and everybody would come in this televised display in the Turkmen National Assembly, and they would cry and they'd say, "You're like our father, how can you go?" This, that, whatever. And he would not go. So I expect there will be big tamasha within the party, or at least he's counting that there'll be tamasha within the party, saying, आप हमको अनाथ मत छोड़िए, हम आपके बच्चे हैं, हम मर जाएंगे आपके बिना, बच्चा कैसा मम्मी पापा के बगैर रह सकता है, etc. nonsense. Or one second, Pallavi, let me quickly finish. Or what will happen is he will simply concoct this. I don't expect this outpouring of grief. He will concoct some outpouring of grief. But I think it will happen, because what happens is, because everybody has been balanced off in some way. Atishi against Raghav, Raghav against Saurabh, Atishi against Saurabh, etc., etc. Just to keep each other out, they will agree on Sunita Kejriwal as the consensus candidate. The way
Okay.
Stalin became.
And I
I
just
think a couple of
and I
options.
just want to say
Chosen.
one second. I want to say very quickly, we're over 1,000 people live, so please like the stream and share it with people so that more people watch. And Pallavi, I'm going to ask you this, and then say what you need to say. But you understand political dynamics and optics really well. The fact that Atishi and Saurabh was sitting behind Kejriwal, Raghav was like in the front row but to the side. Does that seat placement say anything, or is one just reading too much into it? Because
But
these things
Raghav was
are
on
really
every channel
carefully.
today. But Raghav was
So
on
was
every
Atishi.
channel today. Yeah, so Raghav was on every channel today defending Arvind Kejriwal, and I don't think he would have spoken if they didn't want him to speak. So there were clearly two, three people today who were fielded. Atishi being one of them, Raghav Chadha being another one of them, and to a certain extent, I found Saurav Bharadwaj. I think there are two, three scenarios. I agree with Abhijit. One is that you remember he had done a referendum recently. Jab chittiyan bata gaya, do you think you want me to become the CM or something like that? Something like that will happen. Even in these next 24 to 48 hours, there could be people who are hitting the streets and telling him not to resign, not to resign. Something will happen on 17th. That is one possibility where he does not end up resigning because, for the sake of the party to keep it together. Or second, if he does resign and if it's going to be his wife, yes, she will be the consensus candidate. And third, whoever, if it's other than Sunita Kejriwal, I think that he may ask for a dissolution of the assembly and there's a caretaker CM who's not much of a CM. But in Arvind Kejriwal hitting the streets and going ghar to ghar is going to be a very powerful optics in comparison to, say, an Atishi or a Sunita Kejriwal becoming the chief minister. And he's made it very clear. He's not. I asked this question to Raghav Chadha. He's made it very clear that I'm not going to wait to get a clean chit. I am stepping down as CM only till the next election. So I'm going to be back. So effectively, he's not going to be a CM for 4-5 months. November, December, October, Jan, 4 months. So it is not a resignation per se, right? I mean, really a high moral ground would have been when he says कि मुझे clean sheet लेने दो, उसके बाद मैं वापस आऊंगा. He's not saying anything of that sort. He knows from Hemant Soren what happened. Yeah, Champai Soren wala example. I remember the Home Minister had once famously said that even one day, 1 hour out of power can change things completely. I mean, I think Arvind Kejriwal understand. I mean, that drama ya jo bhi hai, but that day when Mamata Banerjee said that I'm willing to resign, what happens? Your cadre also gets a little enthused. Hamara kya hoga? The selfishness of the cadre. What will happen to us if a personality-driven party like, say, a TMC or like an AAP loses the face? This is also his way to kind of galvanize the cadre and ensure that they stay with him. Because अभी game शुरू नहीं हुआ है. बीजेपी का game अभी शुरू होगा.
Ajay, I think he's going to resign. I don't think he's not going to resign. I think this is going to be something he's going to do. He's going to campaign. He is a savvy politician. He's actually, I would say, in that generation, which includes Rahul Gandhi, he's probably the savviest politician. And he knows that his reputation has suffered during this whole time, and his plank, which was anti-corruption and he should go to jail, that Kejriwal is what people voted in and were drawn to. So I think he's going to resign, and I think he's going to go door to door. He's going to do exactly what he says he has.
See, I tend to agree with Pallavi. Unless he actually resigns on paper, he is still the chief minister. The likelihood of him making any of his colleagues as the chief minister, absolutely impossible. It is not possible for him to let go of the power. Sunita Kejriwal, he knows the allegation will stick, the BJP will bring about the family aspect, highlight it well, and get away with it. So that is why you have not seen Sunita Kejriwal being sworn in as the chief minister, just like Kalpana Soren, despite her family issues and party pressures, could not actually make it to the chief minister's post. Hemant Soren would have loved it. Even now, Hemant Soren's most of the campaign issues and others are being handled by Kalpana. Likewise, Sunita Kejriwal is the backstage handler, handling lots of things in his absence. You will see Arvind Kejriwal in election mode henceforth. And yes, it will have a great impact on the mindset of the people because the door-to-door campaign matters. Had that not been the case, you would not have had Vijay Singh do a Padyatra and fortify himself in Madhya Pradesh. You would not have seen, we saw that in Andhra Pradesh. We have seen that in with Hemant Soren's case, if you recall, last elections, just prior to the last elections. He took a cycle yatra and traveled across the state and did the same. So yes, that will have a huge
Even
impact. Yes, Jagan Reddy. I had forgotten his name. So yeah, these are things which will happen. It's a very diabolic situation when it comes to the people of Delhi. But yes, if you look at administration, since this entire crisis has took place, Delhi has suffered. If you today travel to Delhi from Noida, you actually feel super happy being in Noida because you have drivable, motorable roads in Noida. Delhi is completely gone. I mean, Vasant Vihar has potholes I've never seen in my life. It is crazy. You can't drive in your second gear. Forget anything else. So the roads are pathetic. Waterlogging, traffic jams, basic facilities not being available, people willing to kill each other, gang war openly taking place. What kind of an administration is there in the capital? So yes, it's a hopeless situation, no doubt about it. And Arvind Kejriwal, one has to give it to him, has the knack of coming out with things. Successful or
Yeah.
not, that's a different thing altogether. But he does have a knack of getting around. And there are only two political parties, of which, as Kejriwal Zindabad put it very aptly, the people choose the so-called lesser evil. We are in a bad state these days. Unfortunately, that's where we are.
Well, I just want to say, Anshuman is saying Advaita is happy. It is almost like appreciating Yogi. I think Yogi has been a great administrator for UP, law and order and infrastructure. So no secret in that. But Kejriwal Zindabad, last question to you before we wrap up the show. Who do you think the BJP can field as a counter to Kejriwal?
Bashuri. She's got
Who?
her mom's Bashuri.
Who?
Bashuri
Basuri.
Swaraj.
Ah.
Bashuri Swaraj. You are not understanding. Bashuri. Bashuri Swaraj. She has her mother's face, voice, intonation, very much goodwill of people of Delhi. I think they should field her. See, you need to. Delhi is one of those places. Look, Delhi walas, whether we like it or not, we think. To be fair, South Delhi is very nice. North and West Delhi remind me of Dhaka in that sense. I would want to go there if my life depended on it. But the problem here is, irrespective of if you live in North or West Delhi, you turn your nose up at every other part of India and you think you're the best because there's a lot spent on Delhi pretty much. Okay. You want somebody, quote unquote, commensurate with your status. Sheila Dikshit was a very big leader in the Congress. Sushma Swaraj was a very, very big leader in the BJP. Arvind Kejriwal has a great deal of stature. Try something new because you keep putting these people who just don't have that sort of aspirational, not aspirational, that sort of, I won't even say seniority, the kind of visibility that Delhi expects for itself.
Okay, and
that's
for
going to be the
Congress,
problem.
who would be your pick? And for Congress, who would be your pick as a counter to Kejriwal?
Nobody. Nobody, because the
No
Congress
one?
just doesn't have local Delhi leaders. No. See, because the
Okay.
problem in the
And
Congress right now is everybody's been made into just another leader. The bunch of
but isn't that
people
happening
who
everywhere?
are, well, not really. The BJP, in spite of a personality cult, actually has a few people, I guess, who are not in that thing. Do you want to try Rajnath for Delhi? Maybe that would work. But will Rajnath accept? It will be a huge demotion for him. No? So
That's the thing,
let's
right?
see.
You need the second round. Smriti,
But I think Delhi,
Smriti has a
sure.
Delhi background. Yeah.
I'd love to see Smriti Irani as Delhi Chief Minister, because let's face it, since Sheila Dikshit, within 2-3 months of Sheila Dikshit being voted out of power, nobody was fixing potholes. Nobody was fixing, and this is not new. What Dr. Ajay Kumar is saying is not new. It started the moment Sheila Dikshit, because see, the Delhi Chief Minister has to work very closely with the central government. If you remember, Sheila Dikshit was chief minister even when Atal Bihari Vajpayee was prime minister, and she worked very well with him. You remember, Sheila Dikshit hosted a civic reception for a civic felicitation for Atal Bihari Vajpayee in the Red Fort. It was a grand event because she was, like I said, she was everybody ki dadima. She would literally ask everybody, "Khana khaya? Kyon nahi khaya? Chal isko khana order karo." She didn't care if you were BJP, AAP, whatever, Muslim League, not Muslim League, Indian, Pakistan, whatever. She had that kind of connect, average connect, that you could go have a chat with her. And she got along with everyone. See, that's a generation of Congress leaders who we don't have anymore, because the only Congress leaders given prominence have to be particularly toxic.
Yeah. And same
And we
question to you,
suffer as a
Ajay, very
result.
quickly. Yeah. Same question to you, very quickly.
Let's go by, okay, now that we were talking about Congress, let's just slice and dice. Which political leader in Congress really feels that he can do the job of a chief minister in Delhi? Ajay Makhan, he's not acceptable within his own political party. You look at Sandeep Dikshit, not acceptable within the political party. Alka Lamba, hell no. So who are you looking at? Frankly speaking, it's a very bleak future for the Congress political party, as per to put up even a face which is acceptable. And Rahul Gandhi, for sure, is not really a great face to be acceptable in Delhi, howsoever he may try it to
Yeah.
be. There is a lot of sarcasm when it comes to Mr. Rahul Gandhi within the Delhi populace. Even his rallies are not attended well properly. So that's a different ballgame altogether. BJP has options, no doubt about it. I would not like to comment on names specifically because of certain reasons, but fact of the matter is they have a potential of good leadership emerging out. But the current Delhi Pradesh BJP leadership is not at all up to the job. They need to
No, but
completely redo.
we keep saying this, right, Ajay? Because we were saying this like 2-3 years ago, and then they did a change in the leadership. So it's not. I don't necessarily think it's the leadership. I think it's something more basic than that, or something. Yeah, I really do think.
See, it's not about the leadership. See, when you talk about a leadership, you talk about a team leader who is a team player who takes everybody together, comes out with innovative thoughts and ideas. You cannot have a Mr. Goel run around and be a pansy. You cannot have Mr. Upadhyay, who was unable to hold his own political party together and the Pradesh unit together. And there is a lot of interference from the central leadership when it comes to Delhi, because incidentally they happen to be in the same city. And there is a lot of overlap. A lot of people with highly ambitious orientation are within the political party. They do not really want to be BJP Pradesh party, but they want to be within the central party and command the Pradesh committees. So there are vested interests at play in Delhi. Unless the central leadership decides that you need to give a free hand to the BJP local unit, it will not happen. That is one of the biggest reasons. So the problem lies within, and everybody knows the problem, but nobody is willing to bell the cat. That's the other part. The other thing which, See, you started with when the BJP started its entire campaign and orientation within Delhi. The slogan was statehood, complete statehood. You were the first one to renege off that slogan the moment you formed your own government in the center. So, have you ever heard over the past 10 years, 11 years, complete statehood for Delhi by any BJP leader? So, when you promised something and you do not hold to it, it's just like, you're mutilating somebody and then you're letting the person come back. Don't do that. Stick to what you say. People know, people understand. So you don't have anything new to come up. And the tranquilated chief minister, as it is, which is there in Delhi, has hardly any control over anything. The chief minister is unable to control the municipality. The chief minister is unable to be in touch with the central government. So the only benefit that you can have is a so-called double engine. Well, it doesn't really work. So yes, BJP has issues. It will have to sort it out. But BJP is in the best position to sort it out. Congress cannot sort its issues out. BJP can project a good leader. Sushma Swaraj's daughter is a good pick. But whether she'll be acceptable is also, she's all over the television. Now, if you see in all the debates, anything concerning Delhi, she's always put forward. It is an effort, concerted effort to make her the face of Delhi. But the moment she'll be made the face of Delhi, it'll be, Purvaiya versus Punjabi. A typical refrain within BJP state unit. And thereupon, she'll be again treated just the way her mother was treated when she was brought in the last minute, 3 months prior to the election, to fight an election which she lost only because of onions. That damn onion is being sold at higher price today than she lost the election for. So one has to get the act together. It's as simple as that. BJP is in best position to do it if the leadership really tries to build the car.
All right. On that note, we're going to wrap this up, and we'll of course be back later this week. I think we will be back this week because midweek, because I think a lot's going to happen. So we don't want to miss out on those conversations. Thank you so much, Ajay. Thank you, Kejriwal, Zindabad, Shahi, Murdabad. There's a slogan. And we will speak to all of you soon. Please do like, share, subscribe to the channel, and we will be back soon. Thank you so much for watching. And for those of you who talk about production, etc., guys, this is a live stream. So we're kind of limited in all that we can do with a live stream. If we were pre-recorded, then there was a long, there were things we could have done. But thank you so much, and bye, everybody.
Basically, Advaita doesn't want to spend money she earns off of us on the program. She spends it on all her diamond necklace because she's trying to be Nita Ambani Babi number 2. So she's saving up for a diamond necklace. So yes, please blame her.
Achha, Abhijit, by the way, I do want to set up a studio. Do you know of a good interiors person who can help me with it?
Yes, I do.
Yeah? But not very expensive, because I don't have your budget.
Sure. Not expensive at all. Huh?
Oh, that's nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for watching. Bye now. Bye-bye.
Bye.